Welcome to Section 3 of the PREP video tutorial on navigating the school system. In this video, we'll learn about how to identify and resolve different types of issues your child might be facing at school. This video tutorial is provided by PREP, the Parental Readiness and Empowerment Program, an initiative of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. We offer helpful information, not legal advice. We try to be accurate, but rules can change and may vary by state and district. This is Section 3 of a 3-section tutorial. Section 1 gave us an overview of the school system. Section 2 explored effective communication skills. And in Section 3, we'll review how to resolve issues. So what do you do if your child is having a problem at school? Maybe you've already talked to your child's teacher and haven't seen any results. Maybe you know you need to speak with someone, but you don't know who to talk to. Maybe you've been directed to several different people and haven't received an answer. The key to addressing an issue your child is having at school is to not give up and to keep on asking. This video will cover who you should talk to when particular problems arise. While this may vary depending on your child's specific circumstances, it will give you a general idea of who to talk to. For any issue, the first step is to identify what the problem is and what category the problem falls within. Then, figure out who can help. Step 3 is to keep a careful contact log, as we discussed in the Parent Advocacy video tutorial, which includes not just contact information of every person you speak with or attempt to contact, but also when you contacted them, what you spoke about, and any possible follow-up action. There are many different types of issues you or your child might experience within the school system. It's important to identify the type of problem your child is having in order to know who to talk to and how to resolve it. We'll cover the 5 typical types of issues in this series of video tutorials. This video will discuss the process for addressing general education issues, and the next 4 videos will describe how parents can navigate situations more specific to special education issues, discipline issues, discrimination issues, and English language learner or ELL issues. An education issue affects your child's academic performance. A special education issue is related to your child's education or services related to his or her placement or participation in a special education program. A discipline issue could be that you're concerned your child or another child was disciplined unfairly. A discrimination issue could mean you think that there is unfair separation of groups at your school or disproportionate consequences for one group of students. And an English language learner issue means you believe your student isn't receiving appropriate or effective services related to his or her status as an English language learner, or you as a parent don't speak English and you don't receive communication from the school in a language that you understand. Keep in mind, there could be overlap of the issues. For example, your child might be in a special education program and be experiencing a discipline-related problem. Or you might think a discipline-related problem is discriminatory against one race. So let's see an example of how to identify the types of issue you might be facing.
Julia's son Josh was a bright boy in 1st grade, but he sometimes struggled in school. Julia usually managed to read with Josh at least 3 nights a week. With all of this help, Julia was sure her son knew the 300 sight words that all 1st graders had to know for mid-quarter reports. Josh took his sight word test and scored 70%. When Julia saw the report card, she couldn't believe it since she and Josh reviewed his sight words that morning. When Julia called Josh's teacher, she told Julia that Josh would be retested next month and could make up the words he missed then. In the meantime, Josh was placed in the class's lowest reading group, which focused on concepts that Josh already knew. Over the next few weeks, Josh started acting out because he was bored in class and didn't like what he was reading. He told Julia he was in the dumb group because he was bad at reading. Julia reviewed the issue chart and thought to herself, what type of problem is my child having? She knows this isn't a special education related problem because her child isn't in a special education program and she doesn't want him tested. Even though Josh's behavior might become a discipline related problem, The main problem is her child's placement in a reading group below his actual reading ability. Julia decides this must be an education-related problem because Josh's placement is affecting his academics.
Step 2 of resolving an issue you or your child is having at school is to find who is best equipped to help you. Remember, if you're not sure who to talk to, you could always ask your child's teacher where to go next. Let's go through an elimination process of who you should talk to. In resolving any issue, you should first try to resolve the issue directly with the individual you have a concern with. Most of the time, you should talk with your child's teacher first. Make sure you've made a genuine effort to work with your child's teacher before going to the person next up the chain of command. If you can't resolve the problem with your child's teacher, work with the school principal. If the principal can't help, don't give up. Keep working your way up the chain of command by speaking to the superintendent or another education leader. If that person can't help, you might need to speak with an advocacy organization. Make a consultation with a lawyer to see if there's a possible legal issue at stake, which can be free, but check before making an appointment. Or you could consider filing a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights if you believe that your complaint has to do with discrimination based on race, sex, age, disability, ethnicity, or national origin. Remember, filing a complaint with the OCR could take time, and you might not see results for a while. So let's check out what this might look like for the different types of issues. First, let's look at education-related problems your child might have. The main types of education-related problems are that you don't agree with the grade your child received. You worry your child is falling behind and want to find out how to get extra help. Your child is being held back and you don't think he or she should be. Your child's teacher doesn't seem to be reaching your child, or you don't believe your child's teacher is doing his or her job. You have an issue with your child's homework, or you have an issue with your child's curriculum. So ask yourself, are you or your child having one of these issues listed? If you have one of these problems or something else related to education, you should talk with your child's teacher first. The teacher spends the most time with your child than anyone in school and will know the most about your child's academic needs and what is going on in the classroom. If the teacher can't help you or a problem is not resolved after speaking with the teacher, meet with a school family liaison. If your school doesn't have a family liaison, speak with your school's principal. If the principal doesn't help you, you can reach out to your district's associate superintendent. If your district doesn't have an associate superintendent, try to work your way up to the superintendent. Rarely will an education-related problem reach this level. Most of the time, the teacher and the parent are able to come to a solution and work through the problem together. So let's take a look at an example of how an education issue might be resolved.
This is Kalea. Kalea is in the 4th grade and is an A student. Kalea's mom, Beth, is busy with 3 kids and a full-time job, but she checks in with Kalea each day to ask about homework. Last year, Kalea's teacher made a weekly homework packet for Kalea. This is the 6th week of school, and Kalea has only had 2 short assignments so far. One night after school, Beth asked Kalea to do her homework, but Kalea told her she didn't have any. Beth knew she should first speak with Kalea's teacher, Ms. Jones. The next day, Beth called Ms. Jones, keeping in mind the communication strategies and being assertive instead of aggressive. Beth asked Ms. Jones why Kalea has only had 2 assignments since school started and asked what the homework procedures were. Ms. Jones told Beth that she thinks 4th grade is a bit young for homework, and she typically assigns 1 homework assignment every other week. Beth told her that Kalea could really benefit from additional assignments to do at home. Ms. Jones agreed and offered to send home a packet for Kalea. 2 weeks passed and no homework packet came home. Beth knew that more than a reasonable amount of time had passed for her to ask Ms. Jones about the homework again. So she called Ms. Jones to remind her to send a homework packet for Kalea. She asked for the packet to be sent home by Friday. Ms. Jones apologized and promised to do so. Sure enough, the packet came home by Friday. It took 2.5 weeks, but Kalea's mother's persistence helped Kalea get the materials she needed to succeed. It's important to note that Kalea's mother tried multiple times with the teacher and never went to the principal. With education-related matters, the teacher usually has the most control over the situation. You should try multiple times with your child's teacher before working your way up the chain of command. By Friday, if Miss Jones had not yet received the homework, Kalea's mom should have then contacted the school family liaison or principal.
We are now at the final step for solving a problem your child is having at school. If you've watched the Parent Advocacy video tutorial, you may remember the suggestion that you keep a contact log. This is crucial in resolving issues at school. Once you identify the problem your child is having and talk to the appropriate person, it is highly important that you document each interaction you have with someone who works for the school system. Document what was said, what date you spoke with someone, what happened because of your conversation, and how often you talk to someone. And if someone doesn't return a phone call, record it. Remember, it's important to know how the school system is laid out so you can keep working your way up the chain of command to get answers and solutions for your child. While this information may seem overwhelming, it's helpful to review it so you're ready for any issue that your child may face at school. So we've finished the first part. Next, we'll talk about resolving special education issues.